So what really makes someone an expert in occupational safety and health? It's got to be more than just having a hard hat and a clipboard, right? Well, today, we're going to break down the profile of a real pro, a top-tier OSH manager. We're going to uncover the actual blueprint for what it takes to be a leader in this incredibly important field.
Seriously, just take a second and think about it. What does it take to keep everyone safe on a massive infrastructure project? We're talking about giant tunnels, sprawling pipelines, huge pumping stations. I mean, the number of moving parts, the heavy machinery, the sheer risk is just off the charts. It's so much more than just telling people to wear a vest. It's about managing this huge, complex system designed to prevent things from ever going wrong.
All right, so let's put a face to that system. Meet Mohamed Abdelaziz Ibrahim. He's the guy, the OSH manager, behind a major new tunnel project in New Cairo. And by taking a deep dive into his career, we can pretty much map out what true mastery in this field actually looks like.
So, we're looking at a leader in project safety. It's a journey, right? From learning the basics to managing massive projects. To really get a handle on it, we're going to break down his expertise into a few key pillars. This is what sets the pros apart.
Okay, so we're going to look at 5 key pillars that really define this level of expertise. We'll touch on everything: his education, his grasp of management systems, his real-world, in-the-trenches experience, and even his ability to teach others. So let's jump right in with the first one.
All right, first up, the foundations of OSH excellence. The bedrock of global safety standards. And at the very bottom of all this, the absolute starting point are the certifications, the ones that are known and respected all over the world. These aren't just fancy pieces of paper. They're like the universal language that all safety pros speak.
And here they are, what a lot of people in the industry call the Big Three. You've got the NABOSH International General Certificate. That's kind of the global gold standard. Then there's IOSH Managing Safely, which is all about the practical, hands-on stuff for managers. And of course, the OSHA standards for both general industry and construction, which give you the detailed, nitty-gritty rules that have shaped safety practices everywhere.
And here's the key thing to get. The whole point of these isn't just about checking a box for compliance. It's about building a proactive safety culture from the ground up. It's about changing the mindset from, I have to follow this rule, to, I am responsible for safety. That's a huge difference.
Okay, so you've got the foundation. That's crucial. But how do you take that knowledge and apply it across an entire organization? Well, that brings us to the next level, mastering global management systems. This is where you really see an expert move from just managing a job site to influencing the entire company. And this is where things get really strategic. Look at this. It's not just about the safety standard, ISO 45001. He's also certified in quality management, environmental management, and risk management. The magic here is how they all fit together. It means safety isn't just this separate thing over here. Nope, it's woven into the quality of the work, the project's environmental footprint, and how you manage risk across the board.
When you can do that, you've reached a whole new level. You're no longer just the safety cop who shows up to point out problems. You're a strategic partner. You're helping ensure the entire project succeeds. Safety becomes part of the DNA of the operation, from the very first planning meeting all the way through to the final delivery.
Look, all the certificates and theory in the world are great, but they don't mean a thing if you can't deliver when the pressure's on, right? So this next pillar is all about that. Real-world, battle-tested experience out in the field.
And this timeline, it just tells the story perfectly. You can see the clear, steady progression. He starts as an officer back in 2016, moves up to specialist, and then starts taking on these big managerial roles, handling larger and larger projects. This isn't just a job history, it's a ladder. Each rung represents a bigger challenge and proof that he was ready for it.
And these are the kinds of projects where he proved himself. We're talking about a massive tunnel project in New Cairo, complex infrastructure networks in Damietta, pumping stations, rural infrastructure. I mean, think about the unique challenges each one of those brings. Confined spaces, heavy machinery, deep excavations. This is where the theory gets put to the ultimate test.
So what's the final piece of the puzzle? The thing that takes an expert to an elite level? It's about more than just being good at your own job. It's about making other people great at their jobs. It's the jump from being a practitioner to being an influential mentor. It's all about developing future safety leaders.
And you can see that shift right here in his credentials. Look at this stuff. Training of trainers, certified international trainer, even effective communication skills. These aren't about learning more safety rules for himself. These are certifications about how to teach what he knows to other people, how to communicate complex ideas in a way that sticks.
This is how you build the next generation.
And that is what makes a true leader. When you can train others effectively, you become what's called a force multiplier. You're not just one person ensuring safety on one site anymore. You're raising the bar for the entire organization, building that safety culture in a way that can actually grow and last.
Okay, if one single thing could sum up the dedication we're talking about, it's this: 50 plus. 50 plus certifications and professional courses. I mean, wow. This is not someone who got a degree years ago and just coasted. This shows a relentless commitment to always be learning, always be improving in a field that never, ever stands still.
So let's just wrap this all up. What have we seen here? It's a complete picture of expertise, right? It starts with that solid foundational knowledge. It builds up to mastering those big integrated systems. It's proven time and time again in the real world on tough projects, and it all leads to the ability to lead and mentor others. That, right there, is the anatomy of a top-tier OSH expert.
Which kind of leaves us with one final question for you to think about. When you see this kind of comprehensive skill set, everything from the nitty-gritty details of a risk assessment all the way up to building a company-wide safety culture, what's the biggest safety challenge you're dealing with? And just imagine, how would this level of expertise completely change the game for you?